I wanted to talk about this segment. This was a big week in the world. The BRICS summit from the BRICS alliance, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, held their summit in Johannesburg, where it was announced that they were adding several members. So here is Fiorella Isabel from the Convo Couch with the tweet summing this up. By January 2024, the following will be added: Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. After these additions, the BRICS GDP will account for 37% of global GDP share. Population of BRICS countries will be 46% of the world's population, and BRICS will hold 44.35% of the world's oil reserves. Here is the South African President Cyril Ramaphosa making that announcement at the summit.
As the 5 BRICS countries, we have reached agreement on the guiding principles.
By the way, you could just see, I forget who Russia sent, but Putin has a warrant out for his arrest by the ICC. That's why he can't leave. So that's why he wasn't there. But you have the leaders of state from all of those different countries there.
We have reached agreement on the guiding principles, standards, criteria, and procedures of the BRICS expansion process, which has been in discussion for quite a while. We have consensus on the first phase of this expansion process, and other phases will follow. We have decided to invite the Argentine Republic, the Arab Republic of Egypt, the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates to become full members of BRICS. The membership will take effect from the 1st of January 2024.
So there he is, making that announcement official. Here's the map of the old BRICS Alliance, or the existing BRICS Alliance, I should say, and the new one once these countries are formalized as part of BRICS in January 2024. So as you can see, they're in every hemisphere, it looks like. And Brazil, Argentina, obviously Iran, and Saudi Arabia. It is certainly indicative of an alliance forming. And you obviously have Russia, China, India sort of cooperating economically. This is really the side of the Ukraine war that the media does not talk about, but this is, I think, the most important part of it. And this is really long-term what's going to be most significant about this. Now, when you add Saudi Arabia to the list here, as Fiorella wrote in that tweet, now almost half of the world's oil reserves are going to be under the control of what is the counterweight to NATO and the G7. And so that's a hugely, hugely significant thing. And, whoever is sort of putting out the line that, Ukraine is winning and Putin's a madman and that Joe Biden's holding NATO together and the G7. No, this is the West losing. This is the West starting to lose. And no matter, I've seen some write-ups in mainstream liberal press, the New York Times, saying, well, aside from China, they don't really have a lot of economic power. Aside from China, they have no economic power. That's like saying, aside from the ghost peppers we put in the salsa, it's not that spicy. You should be able to handle it okay.
Yeah. Well, and India, which is about to become the world's most populous country, being part of this alliance. This is the wages of weaponizing the dollar. That was more than supporting the Ukraine militarily in the way that we did. That is going to have tremendous long-term consequences, because you sent the message that you can't be trusted with the world's reserve currency, and you highly motivated countries that don't even necessarily like each other, like Iran and Saudi Arabia until 10 minutes ago, to work together to break your stranglehold on the world. And we both this segment is based. I think we both looked at a Washington Post article, and the Post it tells you a lot about elite thinking about this. It was very much what you're saying. It was very, yes, well, these countries don't really have any economic force and they're not really able to do anything and they're going to fight with each other, right? And that all might be true if we didn't so highly motivate them to work together. Yes, under normal circumstances, it probably would have descended into a food fight, but you've made it existential for them to de-dollarize the world. And one thing I was surprised to see the Washington Post be honest about is that part of the appeal of Chinese leadership rather than American leadership is that it's values neutral leadership. It's not like we actually stand for our values, but we pretend to. And as a result, we'll criticize this country and that country. Yeah, doing business with a country, it's going to be like, you motherfuckers do what you want. We just want to build a road and a port. How about it?
Right.
That's very appealing to most of the people in the world, particularly given that American moral leadership has been exposed as a hypocritical sham for a very, very long time. If it was ever real, I don't think anybody around the world has believed that for quite a while. When I do Harlem tours where almost everyone's a European, and I always say, I traveled in Europe. You know how long ago this was? This was back when you liked us. And they all laugh because, obviously we don't hold that position even in the West anymore. Even most of our fellow Western countries, if you look at the rank and file people, they don't see America in a positive light anymore. So yeah, when you're the Iron Bank, Game of Thrones fans will get that. Keaton will not.
I will not.
When you're the Iron Bank, you have to be neutral. You can't fuck around. You can't fuck around because that's what keeps everyone from attacking you, right? You have to be neutral when it comes to that trusted position of having the world's reserve currency. As soon as you weaponize it on that kind of a scale, well, now the rest of the world is highly motivated to take you down.
Exactly. And not only, you mentioned how American moral leadership has been exposed as a sort of hypocritical sham. Part of that is also on a deeper level, liberal capitalist democracy, quote unquote, has been exposed as a hypocritical sham. One of the things that the New York Times was sort of concerned trolling about when we came to this was, well, now of the, what is it, the 5, and now there's 6, so there's going to be 11 of the 11 BRICS countries now as of 2024. Only 5 are going to be democracies or something. I forget what the exact number was, and I can't do the math in my head now. But like you have, theocracies and autocracies in there right now, and isn't that a horrible thing? Well, no, that's the whole point. That's part of what has been exposed is that this merging of capitalist economics and sort of liberal democracy has been exposed over the past several decades to have only benefited more or less the same kind of people who benefit from an autocratic state or a theocratic state, right? All the money and power gets funneled to the top one way or another, whether you give the people the illusion that they have a say in it or not. That's part of why this is happening, right? It's not just American leadership. It's the virtue of liberalism, the virtue of quote-unquote democracy, the way we do it, is on trial, and it's losing. It's losing. This is something that they've been hip to for a long time. They just try different ways to sort of deny it, right? But now it's becoming harder and harder because times are becoming more and more severe. And Putin saw an opening post-pandemic when the West was in a weak spot. He saw an opening to make his move and do exactly what they're doing now. This is not about, it was never really about Ukraine. It was all about this. Right, exactly. It was all about this. This was always the sort of big picture. And that's what we're seeing now.
Please clap.